Here's something wild. Most men spend their entire lives trying to figure out what attracts women, and they get it completely backward. They think it's about looks, money, status, all the surface stuff, and sure, those things don't hurt, but they're not what actually creates attraction, the kind that lasts, the kind that makes a woman choose you and keep choosing you. The real psychology behind female attraction is so different from what you've been told that when you finally understand it, everything clicks into place. Suddenly, interactions that confused you start making perfect sense. Women you thought were out of your league become accessible, and the ones who seemed interested but then disappeared, you'll understand exactly what went wrong. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about understanding how attraction actually works in the female mind. And once you get it, you can't unsee it. 1. The massive misconception that ruins everything. Let's start with what almost every guy gets wrong. You think attraction is logical. You think it's a checklist. You believe that if you have the right job, the right car, the right body, the right words, women will be attracted to you. Like it's a transaction. Like you can earn attraction by meeting certain criteria. That's not how it works, not even close. Female attraction isn't logical. It's emotional. It's not about what you have, it's about how you make her feel. And this is where 95% of men completely lose the plot. They focus on the wrong things entirely because they're trying to solve an emotional equation with logical solutions. Think about it. How many times have you seen a guy who has everything going for him? Good-looking, successful, smart, nice. And he can't keep a woman interested. Meanwhile, some other guy who doesn't check nearly as many boxes has women genuinely drawn to him. That drives most men crazy because it doesn't make sense. But it makes perfect sense once you understand the actual psychology at play. Women aren't attracted to your resume. They're attracted to your energy, to how you make them feel when they're around you, to the emotional experience of being in your presence. You can have all the external stuff figured out, but if the emotional experience is flat, boring, or insecure, attraction doesn't happen. It's that simple and that complicated. Here's what this looks like in real life. You meet a woman. You try to impress her by talking about your accomplishments, your possessions, the important things you do. You think you're showing value. What she experiences is someone performing, someone trying too hard, someone who needs her validation. That's not attractive. What's attractive is when you're just present, relaxed, genuinely interested in her, comfortable in your own skin without needing to prove anything. The guys who get this, the 5% who actually understand female attraction psychology, they are not better looking or richer or more successful. They just get that attraction happens in the emotional realm, not the logical one. They know that making a woman feel seen, intrigued, safe, and excited matters infinitely more than having the perfect life on paper. This is why you see women choose men who don't make sense on paper. Because those men understand something fundamental. Attraction isn't about qualifications. It's about connection. It's about creating an emotional experience that she doesn't want to walk away from. And you can't create that experience by listing your achievements or trying to be perfect. You create it by being real, present, and emotionally available. Once you shift your focus from trying to impress to trying to connect, everything changes. You stop performing and start relating. You stop worrying about being good enough and start being yourself. And ironically, that's when you become genuinely attractive, because women aren't looking for perfect. They're looking for real. You've been trying to win a game that doesn't exist. The real game is completely different. What actually triggers attraction in her mind? Alright. So if it's not about the logical checklist, what actually creates attraction? What's happening in her mind when she feels strongly towards someone? This is where it gets interesting. The biggest trigger of female attraction is emotional security combined with emotional excitement. Let me break that down because it sounds contradictory, but it's not. Women are attracted to men who make them feel safe and unpredictable at the same time. Safe enough to trust, unpredictable enough to stay interested, secure enough to relax around, exciting enough to want more of. It's a balance, and most men get stuck on one side or the other. Some guys are all safety. They're nice, reliable, consistent, predictable. Nothing wrong with that, except there's no spark, no mystery, no excitement. She feels comfortable but not attracted. She might like you, appreciate you, even care about you, but attraction. That emotional pull that makes her think about you when you're not around. It's missing. Other guys are all excitement. They're unpredictable, spontaneous, maybe a little dangerous. That creates attraction initially, but it burns out fast because there's no foundation of trust or security. She's drawn to the excitement, but she can't relax. She doesn't feel safe, and eventually that gets exhausting. The men who truly understand female attraction know how to be both. They're steady enough to be trusted, but dynamic enough to be interesting. They're present and reliable, but they also have depth, layers, things about them that keep her curious. They create emotional safety through consistency and honesty, and they create emotional excitement through passion, purpose, and a life that's genuinely engaging. Here's another huge trigger that most men miss completely: confidence. But not the kind you think. Not arrogant, loud, look at me confidence, but quiet, internal confidence that doesn't need external validation. The kind of confidence that shows up as being comfortable with yourself, comfortable with silence, comfortable with not having all the answers, or being perfect. When a woman encounters a man who's genuinely comfortable in his own skin, who doesn't need her approval or anyone else's to feel okay about himself, that's magnetic, because it's rare. Most people are walking around desperate for validation, performing for approval, trying to be impressive. When you're not doing that, when you're just at ease with who you are, it stands out. It creates attraction because it signals something deep. It signals that you're not needy, not desperate, not looking for someone to complete you. You're whole already. Women are also attracted to men who have their own lives, their own passions, their own purpose. Not because they want someone who's too busy for them, but because they want someone who's genuinely engaged with life. Someone who has things they care about beyond just the relationship. That's attractive because it means you're interesting. You're growing. You're not going to become dependent or clingy or boring. And here's something subtle but powerful. Women are attracted to men who can hold their own emotional center. Men who don't get rattled easily, who can stay calm when things get intense, who don't need her to manage their emotions for them. That emotional stability is incredibly attractive because it creates safety. She knows that no matter what happens, you're not going to fall apart. You're not going to need her to fix you or save you or hold you together. The last major trigger: genuine interest in her as a person, not just as a potential relationship or romantic interest. When you're actually curious about who she is, what she thinks, what she experiences. Not because you're trying to win her over, but because you genuinely want to know. That creates connection, and connection creates attraction. She feels seen. She feels valued for who she actually is, not just for what she represents or what she can give you. Attraction isn't about being perfect. It's about being whole, present, and genuinely alive. Why she loses interest even when things start well. This is the part that confuses men the most. Things start great. There's chemistry, good conversations. She seems really into you. Then suddenly she's pulling back, getting distant, losing interest. And you have no idea what happened because you didn't change anything. You're still the same guy she was attracted to initially. Except you're not. Something shifted, and you didn't realize it. Here's what usually happens. In the beginning, you were just being yourself. You weren't overthinking. You weren't trying too hard. You were relaxed, confident, present. That natural ease is what attracted her in the first place. But then, once you realized she was interested, once you started caring about the outcome, everything changed. You started performing, trying to be what you thought she wanted, seeking her approval. And that shift, that energy change, that's what killed the attraction. Women can feel when you're being authentic and when you're performing. They can sense when you're comfortable in yourself and when you're trying to manage their perception of you. And the second you shift from the first to the second, attraction starts to fade. Because what attracted her was the real you, not the curated, trying to impress version. Here's another massive reason women lose interest: you stop leading your own life. At first, you had your own thing going on, your own plans, your own interests, your own purpose. You were inviting her into a life that already existed. But then, once things got started, you made her the center of everything. You rearranged your schedule around her. You dropped your hobbies to spend more time with her. You started needing her attention and validation. That's suffocating. Even if she really likes you, even if she wants to be with you, She doesn't want to be your entire world. She wants to be part of a rich, full life, not the only thing in an empty one. When you make her the center of everything, you put way too much pressure on the relationship, and you stop being the interesting person she was attracted to. Women also lose interest when you stop creating emotional variety. In the beginning, there was excitement, tension, unpredictability, but then things got comfortable, which is good, except you let it become boring. Same routine every week, same conversations, same everything. There's no growth, no new experiences, no progression, just repetition. And repetition kills attraction. Another big one is when you stop being challenging. Not difficult or argumentative, but challenging in the sense that you push back sometimes. You have your own opinions. You don't just agree with everything she says to keep the peace. In the beginning, you probably did this naturally. But then, wanting to keep her happy, you started just going along with everything. You stopped being a whole person with your own perspective and started being an echo. That's not attractive. Women don't want yes men. They want partners. People who will engage, challenge, push back when it matters, have real conversations that include disagreement and different viewpoints. When you stop doing that, when you just become agreeable and accommodating about everything, you stop being interesting. And here's the one that kills more attraction than almost anything else: neediness. When you start needing her to respond right away, needing constant reassurance, needing her to validate your worth, needing her time and attention to feel okay about yourself, that neediness is repulsive at a biological level because it signals insecurity, lack of self-sufficiency, emotional dependence. None of those things are attractive. The pattern here is clear. Attraction fades when you stop being the person she was originally attracted to. When you shift from grounded and self-assured to seeking and performing. When you go from having a full life to making her your whole life. When you trade authenticity for approval seeking. The fix: stay yourself. Keep your life. Maintain your center. Don't lose yourself trying to keep her. She was attracted to who you were before you started trying. Go back to that guy. For the role of mystery and emotional depth, here's something most men completely misunderstand. They think being open and sharing everything is the path to connection. And yes, vulnerability and openness are important, but so is mystery. So is having depths that aren't immediately visible. So is being someone she can't figure out completely in the first 3 conversations. Women are attracted to depth, to men who have layers, who reveal themselves gradually, not all at once, who have complexity, contradictions, things beneath the surface that take time to discover. That's not about being fake or hiding who you are. It's about recognizing that part of attraction is intrigue, curiosity, the desire to know more. When you lay everything out immediately, when you share your whole life story, all your insecurities, all your hopes and fears in the first few dates, there's nothing left to discover. No mystery, no reason to keep digging. She knows everything already, so the curiosity that fuels early attraction has nowhere to go. The guys who understand this know how to share themselves in doses. They're open and honest, but they don't vomit their entire emotional history in the first week. They answer questions. They're vulnerable when it's appropriate, but they also hold some things back, not as manipulation, but as natural pacing. They understand that depth is revealed over time, not dumped all at once. Mystery also comes from having a rich internal life. From reading, thinking, experiencing, growing. When you're constantly learning, constantly evolving, constantly engaging with ideas and experiences, you become more interesting. There's always something new to discover about you, because you are always discovering new things yourself. Women are attracted to men who make them think, who expose them to new perspectives, who challenge their assumptions in gentle ways. That requires depth. It requires having an internal world that's bigger than just work, sports, and surface-level small talk. It requires being someone who's genuinely curious about life, about people, about ideas. Here's what this looks like practically. You don't need to be a philosopher or an intellectual, but you do need to have thoughts about things. Opinions that are actually yours, not just recycled from whatever media you consume. Questions about life, about people, about how things work. Interests that go deeper than just passive consumption. When you can have a conversation that goes beyond surface level. When you can talk about something that actually matters to you with genuine passion and insight. When you can listen deeply and respond thoughtfully instead of just waiting for your turn to talk. That creates attraction because it shows there's substance there. There's someone worth getting to know. Mystery isn't about hiding. It's about having depths worth diving into. 5. Why emotional availability matters more than anything. Here's the thing that most men over 40 especially need to understand. At this age, most women aren't looking for games or surface-level attraction. They're looking for emotional availability. For a man who's actually ready for real connection, not just the idea of it. Emotional availability means you're not still stuck in your past relationships. You're not carrying around unhealed wounds that you expect her to fix. You're not emotionally shut down or guarded to the point where real intimacy is impossible. You've done your work. You know yourself. You're ready to actually show up. This is huge because so many men think they're ready for a relationship when really they're just lonely or looking for someone to fill a void. That's not the same as being emotionally available. Emotional availability means you're coming from wholeness, not emptiness. You want a partner, not a caretaker or a distraction. Women can sense this immediately. They can tell if you're actually available or just going through the motions. They can feel if you're emotionally present or if you're holding back, protecting yourself, keeping walls up. And if you're not truly available, attraction might start, but it won't last. Because she'll realize there's no real depth of connection possible with someone who's not actually open. Being emotionally available also means you can handle emotions, yours and hers, without shutting down or running away. You can have difficult conversations. You can sit with discomfort. You can be present when things get real instead of retreating into logic or defensiveness or avoidance. That emotional capacity is incredibly attractive because most people don't have it. Most people run from emotional intensity, from vulnerability, from the messy parts of real connection. If you can actually be there, actually stay present, actually engage with the full range of human emotion without freaking out, you're rare. And rare is attractive. Here's the brutal truth. If you're not emotionally available, nothing else matters. You can understand all the psychology, know all the right things to say, have your life completely together. And you still won't create lasting attraction, because attraction at its deepest level is about connection, and connection requires emotional availability. She's not looking for perfect. She's looking for present. Be there, really there.